Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. This is a requested video, effectively. So anybody who asks a question that can be turned into a video gets a video nowadays, because I'm having trouble with ideas. So Kathy from Kath Lightfoot channel asked about Draculas. Well, first of all, this is a Dracula Masdevallia cross. These two are Draculas, and I haven't had any of them very long. They are new to me, but having seen a talk at the Orchid Society from a Dracula expert, effectively, he grew his in pure live sphagnum moss, just loosely packed in an open basket, standing in water, and he said, as far as light levels are concerned, I almost keep them in the dark. So I would imagine we could just assume relatively low light levels, which, looking at the environment most Draculas come from, I'd agree. They are montane forest growers, and they grow low down. You know, well, when you've got evergreen forest shrouded in mist and fog, how much light gets down near the, near the forest floor? So yes, I'd agree with that. This is a cross. It's Vecchiana, which, what the hell anything to do with Vecchiana is doing in my grow room, I don't know. It's a cold grower, not cool, cold. And Dracula Hawley. It's not growing well, but it's not dying. It just sort of hangs in there. I've had this one a while now. It was a gift, and it is sort of perking up because it has got new growths coming, several. And some growths have grown on and matured. So it's sort of coming on. I don't see roots pouring out of the pot. That would be good. But it went in that pot without many. And it hasn't been in there long. So, give it a chance, as they say. This is not a bad plant, this one. This is Dracula pusilla. Now, this one seems to be pushing out quite a few new growths. And that's all it's doing at the moment. Again, I don't see stacks of roots pouring out the pot, but again, it hasn't been in there long. I've only started this sort of game with the tray relatively recently, so I can't stay crouched down too long. Let's do me knees in instead. And this one is the latest one I got at Burnham's on. Oh my god. You awkward so-and-so. This is Dracula Bella. And I got this because I'd seen a friend's in bloom and really liked the really large Dracula blooms on it. And I got it on the grounds that if it's going to bloom from the base of the plant upwards. Well, blow me, it's decided to bloom downwards. So I'm now going to have to take this out of the tray, or the bloom spike will just grow into the water. Could even be spikes. I wonder if that's a root or a spike. Oh, that's an old root. But that looks like a spike to me. It's certainly not a root. Oh, and the roots there's some signs of root growth. So now I've got to find somewhere else to keep this. That's going to have to be hung. And this is the trouble. Draculas do well in net pots, in moss, hanging. Because quite a few of them actually push their blooms downwards through the base of the pot. Hence the open net pot, so the spikes can get out. But they need somewhere to go. So I've now got to hang that, and the problem is, as soon as you start talking about hanging in here, you start adding height, and as soon as you add height, you add warmth. So the only thing I can think to do really is, this shelf's full, but this is only a half shelf, so I think I can, knobbly floor on my knees, is to hang it up here. If I hang it from here, it's got plenty of room, it's still got a cooling fan, and reasonably light low levels. The light low levels, you know what I mean. But basically the light level will increase slightly by bringing it up to here, but not a huge amount. Right, so we have a Dracula in spike. Ooh, goody. And now I've got to stop what I'm doing and deal with that, because that spike is already touching the bottom of the tray. So, right, we'll get on with that. So, I mean, from the information I've got, Draculas are low light lovers, very high humidity lovers, don't like to go dry, and don't need, and need to be constantly wet. So if you can provide that environment, they're pretty easy going, and it's the environment that's the problem. Same with the Masdevallias. You get the environment right, they grow well, and they'll do well, and they'll bloom. But the environment can be classed as a bit difficult to achieve. You've got to have the air movement. Cool, moist, still air doesn't do any orchid any good. So you need some air movement. You need to get that humidity up and keep the light levels at a medium to low arena. But I mean, having just said that, in the winter time all my shade netting comes off. So some of my Masdevallias probably get a bit of sun straight through the glass in the winter, but it's so weak as to not, and it won't be there long because the sun just isn't in one place very long in the winter. It's not even up for very long, let alone in one place. So anyway, that's my two pure Draculas and Dracula Masdevallia cross. I mean, this isn't the yellowing on these leaves has actually been there some time. I've been sort of waiting for these leaves to fall, but they're not giving in, they're hanging on. But the new growths are pushing on, same here. Marks on the tips, some would say nutrient deficiency, some would say too much food, several reasons, but the new growths are nice and clean. Yeah, the new leaves are coming up nicely, and there's quite a few new growths. And on here, this is a new growth, that's a new growth, and this is a new growth just pushing on. So now and another new growth here. So they're growing, and now one's decided to bloom. So let's get some hanging stuff and get this one in a suitable place. The problem now is that I really will have to watch that moss, because if it comes out of the tray it's losing its constant supply of moisture, so I'm going to have to supply that now, which becomes a nuisance. But to see a Dracula bloom in here, it'll be the first ever, and to get one this quickly from from what is quite a new acquisition, I'm quite pleased. Yay, we'll do a little yay. Now, are you watching, you Masdevallias? You sitting there not blooming for I don't know how long? Yeah? Brand new Dracula and it does it straight away. Come on. Still, with an environment that's quite a long way away from their perfect environment because of the heat levels, what can you expect? You can't expect them to do brilliantly. They'd have to have it cooler in here for them to do brilliantly. And then they probably would. These grow best in the winter for me, but then the light level drops, the day lengths drop down, which slows them down a bit. They love the temperatures, but they don't like the short days. You never win. Good game though, good game to play. See you next time.